The Oppo Find X3 Pro might just be my favourite flagship Android phone so far in 2021. Here is why. Phones like Apple's iPhone 12 Pro Max and Samsung's Galaxy S21 Ultra might steal the headlines with their lineup of amazing top specs, but they are not the only flagship phones to be excited about. Oppo's latest Find X3 Pro packs a wealth of top-end specs, crams it inside a beautiful looking body, and sprinkles in a few extras to sweeten the deal as well. Here then are the 5 things that I really like about this phone. First up, it looks beautiful. Most phones tend to look pretty much the same these days, but I really like what Oppo has done here. I particularly like the way that this all-glass back flows and curves up around the cameras in one single flowing piece, rather than there being a distinct, separate camera unit on the back like you'd see on phones like the S21 Ultra. It's all just one single piece of glass, which together with the mirrored effect and the metal around the edges all lends this phone a real premium aesthetic. The downside, of course, is that it is an absolute fingerprint magnet and you will need to give it a polish every single time you pick this thing up. I mean, it's got noticeably filthy just while I've been filming this opening section. So, thankfully I kept this. And it's clean again. In at number 2, it has a microscope. Now, most phone cameras tend to offer the standard wide, super wide and telephoto zooms, but the Find X3 Pro takes that a bit further by adding in an actual microscope for some incredible close-up details. You can get seriously close up on your subject, and I'm talking like 1 to 2 millimeters close. And at that level, you can start to see things that it's almost impossible to see with the naked eye. Now, typically putting your phone that close to a tiny subject would block out all of the light, meaning that that subject falls into darkness. But Oppo has found a way around that by equipping its microscope camera with a little LED ring light, which is just powerful enough to cast a nice illumination onto your subject. It works surprisingly well, and I have genuinely enjoyed taking this thing out and capturing some of those tiny details hidden right under my nose. Admittedly, this might be a bit of a novelty. It might be the sort of thing that you get and excitedly spend hours taking photos of all the tiny details you can find and then never touch it again. So let's talk about the rest of the cameras, because those are also pretty great. The standard lens has a 50 megapixel sensor and it can take some really nice looking shots with great exposure and vibrant colors. The super wide lens, meanwhile, has the exact same sensor as the main camera, so they are basically the same camera. There's no loss in quality when you want to switch to that wider view. There's also a 2x optical zoom, which still delivers crisp and clear images, and you can take that further with a 5x zoom, which does digitally crop into the picture, so it will slightly reduce the quality. Next up, the screen. The Find X3 Pro's 6.7-inch display is absolutely gorgeous. For a start, its 3160 by 1440 pixel resolution means that even fine text is pin sharp. It's bright enough to use outside or indoors under some harsh lighting, and its 120Hz refresh rate means that swiping around the screens looks absolutely buttery smooth. Oppo also claims that its screen is the first that can display a billion colors. Now, I am not going to sit here and try and count every single one, but what I will say is that this phone screen is very, very vibrant. Colors do look great if you're looking at images, vibrant games look beautiful, and certainly it's a great phone if you enjoy looking at colorful videos on YouTube or on Netflix. Speaking of gaming, this thing is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to playing those demanding 3D games or other tasks like photo editing or video editing. It's running Qualcomm's top-end Snapdragon 888 processor backed up by 12GB of RAM. It put in some blistering scores on our benchmark tests, comfortably keeping pace with the powerhouse Galaxy S21 Ultra. Like most top-end phones, it's probably got way more power than you'd ever really need, and certainly in my time with this phone, I found almost nothing that can even begin to slow it down. So what else is there to like? Well, it is 5G enabled, as you'd expect of any new flagship, so that means that you can take advantage of super fast data speeds as long as you're in an area and on a phone plan that supports it. It has an accurate fingerprint reader which is invisibly built into the display, and it runs the latest Android 11. The 4,500 mAh battery should keep you going for a full day of mixed use, but it also supports 65-watt fast charging, which should apparently give you 40% of your power back in just 10 minutes, which should be ideal if you just need to give your phone a quick boost. There's also wireless charging, and it's IP68 rated to keep it safe from water, so all in all, there is a hell of a lot to like about this phone. Sure, the microscope camera might not be to everyone's tastes, but I think it is a lot of fun, and it means that this phone ticks all of the boxes of what I look for in a flagship phone in 2021. And that's good news if you live in the UK and Australia, as this phone is due to be on sale in your regions sometime in April. Bad news if you're in the US, however, as there is no plans to officially offer this phone in America. We will of course keep you updated if that changes, but in the meantime you can check out CNET.com for a lot more about the Find X3 Pro and other superb Android phones that you can actually go and buy.